Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the Elder Law Hour with Emily Hicks.
This is Emily Hicks, and you're listening to the Elder Law Hour. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We greatly appreciate it. The month of March, we are focusing on dementia. And dementia is one of those topics that is really confusing. So I thought to start off the show today, we'll talk about just a little bit about what it is. For those of you who, don't know and maybe are not affected by this disease just yet, it seems to be an epidemic that is truly affecting so many Americans. But dementia really is not a specific disease. Dementia is really the term that's used for a collection of symptoms that can be caused by a number of other disorders that affect the brain. So people with dementia, and this is according to the Dementia Society, people with dementia have significantly impaired intellectual functioning that interferes with their normal activities and relationships. They're going to lose their ability to solve problems and maintain emotional control. They may experience personality changes and behavioral problems, such as agitation, delusions, and hallucinations. I know when I was dealing with my mother's situation and when she had dementia, she would have hallucinations. And it was such a strange thing to think about, but she would often see children outside playing, which was actually a nice hallucination to have, but she knew that they weren't really there, but she also knew that she saw them and wondered. It was as if she was drifting in and out of the conscious reality. So it was very strange, and often not all of her delusions and hallucinations were so nice, unfortunately, as she progressed in her disease. But that was really shocking to us when we first realized that she was actually having these. And memory loss is also a common symptom of dementia. Now, memory loss by itself doesn't mean that the person has dementia, though. So that's important to differentiate. Doctors diagnose dementia only if two or more brain functions, such as memory and language skills, are significantly impaired without loss of consciousness. And some of the diseases that cause the symptoms of dementia, and this is where you're going to really be familiar, is Alzheimer's. So Alzheimer's disease is one of the diseases that cause symptoms of dementia, vascular dementia as well, Lewy body dementia, frontotemporal dementia, Huntington's disease, and Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. And yes, I did look up how to actually pronounce that. Doctors have identified other conditions that can cause dementia or dementia-like symptoms, including reactions to medications, metabolic problems, and endocrine abnormalities, nutritional deficiencies, infections, poisoning, brain tumors, hypoxia, and the brain's oxygen supply, and anoxia, which are conditions in which the brain's oxygen supply is either reduced or cut off entirely, and heart and lung problems. Although it is common in very elderly individuals, dementia is not part of the normal aging process. And I think that's really important to note, that this is not something that we are quote unquote supposed to be dealing with. This is something altogether different. So if you're dealing with someone that has dementia, there's another important aspect to this entire situation, and that's the legal matters that you have to attend to. Because we all know that in order to execute legal documents, someone has to be competent to do that. And unfortunately, this disease is very sneaky, and it sneaks up on you, and it takes away your cognitive ability and your ability to make those decisions, and sometimes your ability to trust your loved ones. So it's just so invaluable to create your estate plan, get your legal documents in place before or as soon as these issues arise. You need to go ahead and do this, immediately. And one of those big documents that we always talk about that is so needed is the power of attorney. That's the legal document that gives your loved one authority to handle your financial transactions for you. And that's extremely important, because if you don't have that in place, then a lot of times what resorts from that is a guardianship. And guardianship is the court process of someone basically becoming your guardian, meaning they have full control and authority over your life. And not only does that usually cost, and I'm not quoting a price here, but I'm just saying a roundabout figure is generally in this area is usually about $15,000. Whereas a power of attorney is certainly a lot less expensive and a lot easier to deal with for sure. So make sure you have that in place. Make sure you have your living will and your healthcare surrogate nominations in place. And of course, make sure that you have your last will and testament and or trust. If you're starting this process, normally what we do is we recommend you get the full package done all at once. And that way you have everything that you'll need, when you actually need it. So thank you so much for listening. I appreciate everyone's support of the show. Today, we're taking a closer look at a couple of the issues that you might be faced with if you are living with dementia or have a loved one with dementia. And those are insurance and home modification. Kris Wilson is back with us, and Kris is the owner of Modified Independence Evaluations. He's such a wealth of knowledge. He takes something that feels maybe insurmountable, which is staying in your home as you age. And we all know it's called aging in place. And he really can help you create a plan for that to overcome all of those obstacles that you're going to face when trying to stay independent in your home. So if you've been diagnosed with any form of dementia, or you've recently taken a fall, or you're just having some trouble getting around, your mobility may not be what it once was, he is going to be the guy to call to help you figure out how to stay in your home as long as possible. But first, we have Donna Lueders, who is back, and she's going to be talking to us about Medicare. And I know there's a lot of confusion when it comes to Medicare. She exclusively represents Medicare eligible individuals, and we're going to talk about Part A, Part B, and supplemental coverages and everything that you may need when it comes to Medicare. So stick around. We will be right back.
Are you approaching retirement or entering a new chapter of life? Now is the time to consider critical decisions that impact your future and the well-being of your loved ones. As you navigate this transition, ensure you've